Just because I love you, it don't mean I trust you. Everybody not to be trusted. Everybody around me thugging. Everybody around me drugging. Everybody around me hustling. Everybody know not to bring no new rigging around me. They say I be bugging. Got racks in the go-yard luggage. Just cause I love you, it don't mean I trust you. Everybody not to be trusted.
Even to the point that we're now talking about it. I'm not saying you can't have a third sport. I think it'd be the most interesting fucking sport on the planet. Let's do it. Look, I mean, we've already done it. We already have a model. Like, if people have a challenge, we have the Special Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Why couldn't we have the fucking Trans Olympics? Why could, like,
what the fuck?
Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm serious. Like,
it's real though. Like, there's
why
nothing.
are we even having these conversations where we're like, no, it's National Women's Day, and we're so fucking dumb that we're gonna take a man and give them National Women's Day awards. Like, that's weird. And so the fact that AI has created so much hate, so much division, there's either some really brilliant, nefarious person behind all of this, or AI has evolved to the point that you have a 3-year-old with a fucking magnifying glass sitting over an anthill and we're the ants. Like, it's interesting, right?
It is. You're right. I mean, there's a lot of division.
And there's division over what should be stupid topics. Like we're playing stupid games and we're winning stupid prizes. Like, people are more divided now than they were 5 years ago. People hate each other more now than they did 5 years ago. And it's because people don't ask the right questions. Like, do you know when the income disparity started happening?
The income disparity? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the rich are getting richer faster than the poor and the middle class are getting richer. The income disparity, right? Do you know when that happened?
When?
When politicians, in this case Nixon, decided to separate the dollar from the gold backing that it previously had.
Oh, I see.
They made the monetary system more complicated. So the people that had a higher level interest in money, the rich, understood it better. They could handle and absorb the higher level of complexity. They've manipulated tax laws. They've done tons of government spending. They've had complexity. The more complex you make it, the more you make it easier for the people with complex financial systems to win, and the more you make it difficult for the poor and the middle class to win, and the more you create income disparity. Now, we don't say that. We go say, the rich don't pay their fair share in taxes, which is a fucking stupid thing to say. In fact, it's not stupid, it's retarded. Because the word retarded literally doesn't mean anything bad. It means held back. So we are allowing AI technology, and we are allowing all these anchors and triggers that we put into people that don't realize they're the fucking next generation of AI. They're the meat machine. They're the meat computer. They're the robot that the fucking computer generated by AI machine learning developers 40 years ago had as a baby, okay? And they're sitting there saying, well, the politician says the rich don't pay their fair share, but the top 1% paid what percent of the tax base? And we don't care about facts. Like, dude, people got mad for people saying all lives matter. Like, I'm all for Black Lives Matter. But what's wrong with everybody else? It's fucking dumb. Do all lives not matter? When did it become racist to say all lives matter? Like, I mean, fucking, let's be inclusive, not exclusive. There's nobody bad. Like, this idea that...
I think it's because the BLM community had thought that was creating a separation over the dominant movement that they were creating.
Okay.
And in the midst of a message that was trying to be thrown out there, when people said all lives matter, they only took that side because they didn't agree with what had happened to George when he was held in the ground with a knee attached to his neck. You know what I mean?
Which I don't think anybody thinks was a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's like, yeah, people should be abused like that. That was horrible, right?
Of course.
But if we go and we look at the statistics of the situation, we say, hey, you know, like, what really happened? Are there people really in fear? Is there a big divide? I will tell you what, there's a huge income divide. There's a huge poverty divide. There's a huge, you know, are both of your parents still married together and raising you? Divide between different communities in this country, black, white, I mean, and several others. And we should go in and look at every community and look at all of their problems. But I don't care about your feelings. I care about your fucking facts. And maybe that makes me mean, but that also is exactly how you solve a problem. You don't solve a problem by pretending it's not the problem. You solve a problem by studying that fucking problem. And look, like, Black Lives Matter. And I would not want anyone with any skin color or any religion, race, sexual orientation, or anything else feeling any level of fear for any fucking reason. Okay? And anybody that does is a dick. But you actually have a group of people that get triggered if somebody says all lives matter. Huh. You have people that say, oh, the rich don't pay their fair share when the rich pay the majority of the taxes. Mm-hmm. The majority of the tax burden by enormous margins is paid by the top 10%, okay? And we live in a capitalist country where if you're here, you've bought into the idea that, hey, we're all consumers, we're all capitalists, we all want capital, we all want to earn a living, we want to grow, we want more. Like the one common thing that all human beings on earth want is what? Oh shit, it's more. And so in a capitalist country, we hate the very people that might teach us how to do the capitalist shit the right way, right? Well, that kind of fucks up a social agreement. Like, I'm new money, and when I say new money, I'm first generation wealth. I don't see anything wrong with admiring people that have done a good job. I have lots of mentors. You know who I don't go to for advice if I want more money? Broke motherfuckers. That's like finding divorced motherfuckers and asking for marital advice. It's a really stupid idea. It's like, hey, you know what? Oh, you're really sick. You got 18 diseases. Can you teach me about health? I mean, that would be dumb too.
Jose, tell me you've been recording this.
Yeah, all the cameras have been running ever since you talked about AI.
Okay. Yo, I'm going to make so many awesome videos for you. Has the show started?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, cool.
Let me just no, this is too good. We're going to keep this rolling. What's up, everybody? My name is Quentin Flores. Guys, this is Uncut with Q, and this is your first time listening. I have a really good friend with me, and we haven't seen or talked to each other in quite some time, and he's more than a friend. He's actually a mentor. If you listen to the show, you know we have different types of shows. Me and my guy Trey surf the internet. We haven't done one of those in a while, but be ready, stay tuned. We do Q&As, so go to www.quentinflores.com/askq. Submit your questions. We answer them on the show, and we do awesome things where we bring awesome guests in, and these guests talk about some of the awesome shit that they've done and their knowledge, and they share all these different awesome points of view that they have. And that's this show. And so guys, I'm super excited today. If you get value from the show, then you're aware that we have a fee for the show. That means that if you get value from this, you go out there and you fucking share the shit out of it. If you don't get value, then we'll do better on the next one. With that being said, man, I have a really good friend with me. Go on ahead and introduce yourself to the world, bro.
My name's Preston Brown. I'm an entrepreneur from El Paso, Texas. Been friends with Q for a few years. And how long?
Dude, I think we had signed up to be a part of your mentorship almost 3 years ago. I think it was at the end of 2019. I came over to your office post-COVID.
Yeah.
Right after my event. We had already been in communication. You actually gave us some advice on a Zoom call. And then my partner and I, Garrett, we ended up going and literally we applied it. We went from making like $5,000-$10,000 a month to a little over 50 to 100. And it was just very simplistic. We saw the value in so many holes that you called out in our business. And then we just ended up going in and restructuring things. And what's just that 1 2-hour Zoom call? We got so much knowledge and so much structure. We were wanting more. So we came to El Paso, met with you personally. And it's just been amazing. I currently own 18 different companies now, and I'm able to automate them and systemize them.
Shoot, are you going to pass me?
Maybe. I don't know. They're still babies though, but I got the structure, I love that the math never changes in a business. And the only thing that changes are the structural components of it based on the economy. And so, we have foresight, we have clarity, we have simplicity. Those were things that we never had before. And so, it is really great knowing that if I didn't come to this office today, that we'd still be ahead on work. I have amazing people that are helping me with this business. Mia, she's one of our directors here. Jack is one of our directors here. I have an awesome business partner, Catalina, who keeps my head on my shoulders. And we do a lot of stuff together, and we're excited, man. We're scaling this thing out, which is the podcast, you know what I'm saying? And so I've been all in on it, brother, and I've been taking the advice that I've gotten from you, and I'm just so grateful to have you on my show. It means a lot. I know we were talking about some insane stuff, we can keep the conversation going, man, but I just wanted to tee off this for you guys that don't know, man. Like, my dude is one of the most humble people that you ever meet in your life, and he's really like that dude. Like, this guy knows so many amazing people. He knows so many amazing things. And he's a freaking whirlpool of knowledge. He gets sucked in, and I promise you, bro, you'll you'll come out a changed person. And that's what happened to me, man. So I just want to publicly thank you on my podcast for changing my life, bro.
Thank you, brother. It's nice seeing people use the information. So
Yeah,
that's
of
amazing.
course. So, bro, the podcast is typically centered around entrepreneurship, business. We've gone over health, fitness. You know, I always try to go back to the F's. You've taught me about the F's, which is faith, family, fitness, and finance, right? But you know, still, bro, like everybody that I've mentioned you so many times on this podcast. I've name dropped you so many times, right? And we're at how many episodes, Jack? We're like 60?
55 now.
55 episodes, bro. We're streaming on all platforms, you know, and
I should tell you, like, I am already married.
oh yeah, of course.
I'm not available, Q. Stop looking at me that way.
Not like that, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what's crazy, bro, is like, you know, you just meet some people and you just never know who's going to change your life, bro. And to be honest, when Garrett brought you to my attention, I doubted the crap out of you because I never heard of you. And not that I didn't hear of you because you weren't doing amazing things and big things. A lot of people in El Paso know of you. You know what I mean? And a couple of friends of mine had mentioned that they actually sold a bunch of deals to you and that you weren't a social media dude at all, you know? And so we were trained in my age group where I'm at because I'm a millennial. I'm born in 1990. That if the guy who is trying to teach you how to build wealth doesn't have a huge social media following and Lamborghinis and private jets, that they probably weren't real. And so obviously we're moving out of that. Now it's more lifestyle and the people that you impact than it is like that, because people were really flashy on Instagram and TikTok for a long time, you know? And so when I was real reluctant, and then Garrett was like, we're going to do this. Garrett took the card without asking me and paid, which is the greatest thing that he's ever done for me. One of, because he's done a lot of amazing things. But that right there, man, when we get to El Paso and stuff, I broke my fear of flying to come to you. After you and I had met at your house and we had a huge breakthrough, you did a huge deep dive. I left that building and I made a commitment to never drink alcohol again. And that was almost 3 years ago, bro. In June, it'll be 3 years since I've had alcohol. Last beer I had was with you.
I love that. Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to that. So, bro, man, this thing is open to you, bro. This is a playground. This is the show. It's uncut, man. So, I mean, what we were talking about right now is AI.
You know, let me jump into a few points real quick before, and we can dive back into that.
Of course.
It's so fun. I mean, I'm not a technology guy. I just hired a CTO, and so the amount that I have learned about what technology's done, where technology's going. CTO, for people that don't know, high-level business is chief technology officer. And so he's helping us set up things that, like, I am a data guy, not a tech guy, but he's brought in so many levels of machine learning and just tech opportunities and synergies that it is another level, like, of wow. But for the purpose of this conversation, I like to make a disclosure before I talk to anyone. Please go like this. If you can see the camera, I'm putting my finger in and out of my ear. And the reason everybody should do that is because now you won't have virgin ears and you won't have to get offended by everything that comes out of my mouth as I'm telling you the truth. Because my goal is never to offend anyone, but that doesn't mean that the truth won't offend you. And so if I tell you the truth, at least my truth, and you get offended because of something I think, well, you know, I think life's fun. I think it's a game. I think problems are gifts. And I don't get offended very often, if at all. And that's why, for the people that do get offended, my life's probably better than yours. So if you could learn to maybe make your life a little better by getting offended a little less and having a little less virgin ears, then this talk about AI or this talk about problems that we're having socially, or this talk about economics, if we get into it, or businesses and structuring them, or becoming rich. And yes, I know there's all the bullshit that people say, oh, you're getting rich, you know, money won't buy you happiness. Yeah, fuck you. Poverty's a dumb idea too, so shut the fuck up. You know, like, which one would you choose if you had to pick a fork in the road? You know, I mean, don't get offended, get educated. People are always like, the rich don't pay their fair share. Yes, they do. They pay their fair of a share. Oh, excuse me.
You're good.
They pay their fair share of attention, and they learn shit you didn't know, and they do things you didn't think to do, and they legally and ethically get out of paying taxes because they paid their fair share of attention. Oh. Like, so if everybody did this and got ready for some truth, then now we can go on. So we gave the disclaimer. That way, if there's any like snowflakes or triggered people that think I'm offended is the new magic word that replaced please and thank you,
Bro.
they can either get off the podcast or learn how to not be so triggered.
Right? In other words, don't be a fucking pussy.
Right.
With this being said, man, there's a lot of fear mongering about this, and everybody's getting triggered on the internet about so many different things. And there's a lot of stuff. I swear to you, bro, I get on the freaking computer and I scroll down Facebook and everybody is talking about, I mean, I'll be honest with you, bro, everybody's an expert banker now. People have like, they own financial institutions all of a sudden. They have glorified opinions. A friend
What's
of
an
mine,
expert, by the way?
someone with an opinion, apparently.
It's a spurt that already happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So expert banker, you want to jump into banking?
Yeah, pretty much,
It's so
man.
funny. So what is really going on in banking? Okay. And you and I have talked about this. Banks do not have to do their financials necessarily exactly the same way that we do. Okay. And banks have been in a low interest rate environment where the federal funds rate was, so this is just fact. We've had the federal funds rate low for what, like a decade or more? Okay. Now, when interest rates are low, the valuation of assets is higher because the money's cheaper. Meaning if you're a bank and there's a lot of government spending and printing of money, which there also fact has been for what? Not one administration, not another administration, several on the right and the left. Okay. Poly means multiple. Ticks means blood-sucking arachnid. They're all fucking bad. So fact, lots of printing of money. Fact, there's been a low interest rate environment, which means banks would have to make higher risk deals, loaning more money on properties that have been artificially valued higher, okay, to actually get loans out. Fact, another fact, there's a relationship between a banker and a depositor, right? If a banker wants to make a loan, he has to make a loan with some level of capital. Where does he get that capital? From deposits, if they're healthy. A healthy bank loans out money on deposit. So if you have $1 million in the bank in a regulated fashion is going to loan that money out. And there's a relationship between banks and depositors where they need to pay you a percentage of what they're doing. It's sort of like a profit share deal.
Yeah.
Now, in a low interest rate environment where the Fed could be the bank's lender, okay, or some regional bank could be the bank's lender, that bank can now, or I guess before the Fed rate hikes last year, could have gone and borrowed at what, 0.25?
Yep, pretty
Right?
much.
And now they can borrow at what, 4.75? So if they can borrow at 4.75 to 4.99 is kind of the oscillation range that I think the banks can borrow at, your deposit dollar is no longer worth 0.01%. It's now worth 4 to 5%, no different than the Fed rates.
Jesus.
Meaning, if the bank is going to loan out money, like if you go look at the Wall Street Journal prime rate, that's like at 7.75. There's this interesting 3 points of spread between the Fed rate and the Wall Street Journal rate. I mean, different banks follow different indexes for loans, but this is just one example. Like if I'm going to borrow from the Fed or from my depositors to make a loan, I'm going to loan out at a higher rate. Some level of that spread is going to cover my cost of operations, and some is the profits to the bank.
Yeah.
Right? So the Fed raised the rates 8 times. We got another meeting coming up next week, and they might raise again or they might not. They're starting to get some political pressure right now. But banks didn't go update their deposit rates. Okay? So this is just a fact. And when banks didn't update their deposit rates, depositors with shitloads of cash realized, oh, wait, I can pull deposits out and go get a 1 year or 2 year treasury bond at 4.5%, 5%. So the value of my dollar at the bank is 0.01 still because they're not paying me a fair share. There's those words again. On my money, and they're loaning it out at a higher rate. But I can go to this treasury bond and get 4.5% on my excess cash. Wow. Well, what would you do? Would you want, I don't know, 45x over what the bank's giving you on a return?
Oh, fuck no.
Of course. Everybody would want that, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it would be a fucking no-brainer.
Unless you hate money. Well, that...
Unless you hate
one.
money. Yeah,
so the banks lost a lot across the country of the money that was on deposit because people could go to better places to get their money making a return for them. Okay, so that's one. 2, the banks had over 10 years. So like really, we started dropping rates in 08, the last big recession, right? They've had 10 years of a low interest rate environment. So the bankers and more than that, actually, like almost 20 now. So the bankers that have seen the highs and the lows, the 80s, all this shit, most of them are retired. Unless they've been in business 50 years, 60 years. I mean, like, think about that. Like,
Yeah.
Like that, so it's crazy to think a banker in the 70s or 80s actually might understand today. But most bankers today, especially the young guys, you're in my age, they don't get this stuff unless they're history buffs and they're business buffs and they're bankers. But if they just have a job at a bank, they don't necessarily get this. So banks, when they were paying you 0.01% on your money and there was not a lot of loan demand because there was so much money out there, could go buy similar bonds to what we're now buying at 4.5%, only they might have given you 1% or 1.5%. And this is as recent as last year. So if I'm paying you as a bank 0.01% and I go buy a bond at 1%, I'm making 10x on the spread. If I didn't have huge loan demand, no big deal, right? The problem is I might have bought an 8 or a 10 or a 5-year bond, meaning that my money that I put in there, which is really your money on deposit,
Yeah.
is now at 1%. Only now I got to pay you 4% on it. Ooh. And if I'm not paying you 4% on it, you're leaving to go get 4% somewhere else. Oh, but no worries, right? As a banker, I can go borrow from the Fed? No. Because that asset that's paying me 1% has lost so much value based on what the Federal Reserve did by raising the rates. Everything is in correlation to everything else. If you change one thing in an economy, it's going to change another thing in economy. Like we live in one of the most interesting times that we've ever been in because there's so much change happening so fast, which also means there's so much opportunity happening so fast.
Yeah.
And we also have so many people that don't believe we should have problems and don't realize that changes might equal problems, but they also equal opportunities, and problems might be gifts. And if you looked at them that way, your life would be a lot better. Like, let's look at, like, say, childbirth. Did you know that over 40,000 years, that's the leading cause of death for women?
That's crazy.
That's a big fucking problem. So then let's go look at the best moments of our life. Overcoming adversity. Adversity, another name for problems. Oh, let's go look at the way we leave this world. And, you know, good old God said that I made you in my image. So if there's go to the good book, Body of Christ, he has souls, but we're a community too. We have cells. Wow. So we leave here, we go back home, but the process of getting there is death. That's also a problem. So what if the meaning of life was problems and all this change wasn't such bad shit? And you could actually fall in love with the problem, understand the problem, discover the problem, explore the problem, study it like you do your wife, study it like you do your God. You might actually find that there's a gift, there's a silver lining behind the solution to every single one.
Man, that's got to be the most valuable thing that I've ever heard, bro. That's beautiful, man. And it's true, dude. It's super true, dog. Like, you know, I see a lot of people, like my friend Tiffany on Facebook, she posted this, and it's a thing that I've been seeing. It's been going around the internet. They're like, should I take all of my money out of the bank? I saw like 5 people post this on social media. And I mean, honestly, brother, like, I'm wondering what your opinion is on this. Do you believe that us entrepreneurs should just say fuck it and go take all of our money out of the bank right now?
No. So I'm not telling you to go pull all your money out of the banks, okay? I do not believe we're in the same level of banking crisis that we were in before. If you can read a balance sheet, look, banks are federally regulated and their information is public. You can review whether you're working with a good bank or not, okay? If your bank is elevating what they're paying you on deposits, you're probably at a bank that realizes that the market's changing and they're already elevating what they're paying you. And that if they can elevate what they're paying you, they're healthy, right? If they're not elevating what they're paying you, you can go to several different sources that we're not going to get into here, but go look up, how do I, find out if my bank is healthy? It's probably trending all over Google and everywhere else. And you can go look at, they're required to report everything. And if you understand how to read a balance sheet, assets and liabilities, what do you own, what do you owe, right? Then you can go say, okay, well, what are your assets? Well, if they have loan assets, like in most banks, loan short-term money and they're fixed for a few years and then they're floating after that. And then they might get into some bonds, which can be short-term, near-term, long-term, whatever, right? Look at what those bonds are. Like if I went and say I was like a $5 billion bank with low loan demand and I took $2 billion and I put it at a 1% bond and all of a sudden the Fed changed things, 20% of my total capital is there. I'm unhealthy. I'm probably doomed. You reading my balance sheet, you can figure this out. You don't have to be at risk. The other thing you could do to not be at risk is make sure all of your accounts are lower than $250,000 because you're insured. Like there is the FDIC. If we look at what's going on with the Silicon Valley Bank, there might now be a precedent for all depositors everywhere to be insured. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm not telling anyone to take a risk, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're insuring all the deposits, even for the billion-dollar companies, which, doesn't really sound like, bottom up, middle out to me. But hey, who am I to know anything?
This is what one of my buddies had mentioned earlier, and I love this, right? He says, my friend David, he's a local real estate investor. He owns a crap ton of multifamily. He said, I'm going to pull $1 million and put in 4 separate banks just to be sure. I know bankers tell me it's $250,000 per account, but I also read that's not true. I already have several banks with $250,000 in them. Any great local banks in San Antonio. The one banker likes the $1 million in his bank due to his ratio and giving me loans. I already have $250K in several other banks. Any suggestions? That was one of the things that I saw posted, and is that in relation to what you were saying about the $250,000 per bank?
Well, yeah, like FDIC insurance says you're insured for up to like $250,000, like, and I think it's actually per account. But I mean, verify that. I don't worry about that as much because I'm working with very healthy banks. Like, I think better information would be go and review the banks you're working with. Go look at what assets they have. I mean, you can read a balance sheet if you're an entrepreneur, and most of the folks are going to have more than $250,000 in a bank should be able to read a balance sheet. Okay.
Yep.
And if you have less than that, then you're insured. So you're fine. I mean, either spread it out. Like, here's the problem. A lot of people are collecting cash, and they should be. Like, normally I would say do not collect cash. I think right now is a great time to collect cash. Okay. I got a great quote from a friend today, so I'm gonna plug my buddy Charlie. He sent me this quote today. He said, growth for the sake of growth is the same ideology of the cancer cell. So here's some real good advice for the entrepreneur crowd. Being exceptional and growing is what got you here, but we're in a new economy, and if you're young, if you're our age, if you haven't seen the recessions, like the way that they've been done, like if you didn't live through 2008, if you didn't live through some of those, you need to stack capital. Those who have capital right now are going to be the next generation of the rich and the super rich.
Wow.
Now don't go into growing everything. And if you are stacking capital, stack it in a way where it's safe, either work with safe banks or have $250,000 per bank or as long as you're an entrepreneur of some reasonable merit, you should be able to read a balance sheet and know if your bank is safe, okay? 2, stack cash, start maintaining and grow profitability, but don't push for growth in sales unless you're in a situation where you have to because you're not profitable unless you do, right? Now is a time for maintaining and watching the deals that come because I think the deals are going to start getting better and better and better. I mean, especially on the commercial real estate side of things, I don't see how values and cap rates have maintained. I don't see how when you change the cost of money and you remove the tax benefits of bonus depreciation by 20% per year, which has already started. We're down at 80%. We used to be at 100. How you can still sell commercial products for the same price. I think a lot of people buying right now are going to be in a world of pain. I don't know that the Fed is going to start going back down as quickly as they went up. And I think that's the hopium that a lot of people are smoking. The economy is going to crack and it's going to go. But if I look at corporate productivity today across the country, it actually looks pretty high. Supply chains came back. There was pent-up demand. There's huge productivity. I think this squeeze on the banks is going to squeeze small business because they need more financing than, say, corporate Wall Street does. And productivity will probably slow on the small business side. Productivity will stack higher on the big business side. That'll be I think we're going to see a stock market dip, but that'll help it when big business takes over some of the productivity for small business. But we're technically not in a bad economy if you measure productivity, if you measure employment. We're in a bad economy sector by sector by sector. Maybe this is the soft landing that they talked about, like recessions. Like if you think about what a recession is, because we don't really have a definition in America. Europe
Isn't that
talks
hilarious?
about 2 calendar quarters. The Biden White House says everything is always good news, but so did the Trump White House. I think, politicians lie is just a reasonable.
And whoever
thing to
runs
say.
their fucking Facebook accounts is the total
They're
idiot.
crazy. But if you look at a recession, anytime oil goes over $100 a barrel, like in the last 100 or 200 years, I can't remember the exact numbers, but there's been a recession within a year. Anytime that you've had unemployment below 5% for more than 2 calendar quarters, I think it was like a 45% chance of recession. Anytime you've had inflation over 5% for more than 2 calendar quarters, you've had like a 43% chance of recession. Anytime both of those happened, you've had a 100% chance of recession within the next year. Anytime that the Fed has started quantitative tightening, there's been a recession within the next year, but we're not seeing the same level of recession that we normally do. It's really interesting. Like we saw a recession with travel, restaurants, hotels. Okay, that was kind of COVID. So that sector recessed. That hurt airlines, that hurt hotels. That
Sector
hurt travel.
recessed. What is that?
The travel sector, the
I see.
entertainment sector, the restaurant sector, the service industry, that recessed. COVID was a recession there, okay? And then that's really interesting. That turned into, okay, well, big supply chain issues, which caused huge core inflation because of all the money that had been printed and the bailouts and the give-outs and the PPP and the ERC and all the
I feel
free
like
checks
what
given to
a
everyone.
lot of it was too, brother, was like the wave of information and how fast it travels nowadays. It spreads like wildfire, and it's a lot of false
I think
information.
that's AI, though.
It's a lot of false information, and it's always the thing that you fear getting pushed in front of your fucking cellular device. That's literally because me and my wife will talk about AI, and now all I see on Facebook is AI. And so, we opt into those things.
I want to track this down.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is really interesting what you're saying. And I would tell you misinformation is the causality of this recession. Okay. If you go look at Trump, he got elected because he found this organization called Cambridge Analytica, which used AI to figure out the swing voters and target their interests and send them messages that made them swing to his side.
What the fuck?
Then you go look at, one side learned it. Well, then the Democrats did it too. Like, how many times did I get fucking censored? You probably got censored through COVID. If you asked a question.
For sure.
And people will be like, the election was stolen. The election wasn't stolen. I'm going to say, okay, well, here's my answer to that. Like, do you think that marketing works? Okay, if you would say marketing works, and that's why corporate America spends trillions of fucking dollars doing it, then when you censor the marketing of an entire political ideology, you stole an election. So Trump did it. Then the Democrats did it. Now, I don't think politicians are that fucking smart. I think they're generally late to the game. So
I feel like they're puppets.
right. And I think Trump was a business guy before a politician, so he probably brought something from the business world into politics and leveraged it better than anybody else had. And then the politicians learned it. But as soon as this happened, it started becoming mainstream. There's videos about it on Netflix now. You can go watch this shit. You're going to tell me that corporate America didn't figure out how to do it? You're telling me that if I learn how to hack 5,000 data points of you and engage your behavior to go vote, well, what if I could do the same thing to get you to buy my house? What if I could do the same thing to get you to buy my shoe brand, the jeans I have, this, that, the other? What if AI leveraged 5,000 to 50,000 data point driven machine learning and AI technologies were being used by every single major entity out there, and they had hacked, and let's look at the word hack. They had hacked like a hatchet human psychology to dive into the anchors you already have and even potentially create new ones and force you into a behavior, whether it's a buying behavior, whether it's a voting behavior, and all of it, because there's only 2 influence metrics. There's pain, there's pleasure. All of it would be much faster if we used pain. Because, look, if I said, hey man, I'm going to give you $20 to go run 10 laps around the building, you may or may not do it. But if I said, I'm going to shoot you if you don't, you're going.
For sure.
Right? Like in 2 seconds. So pain and fear will drive. It's a no doubt situation. So when we look at that and we say, okay, well now there's literally AI and machine learning been around for 40 years. So they've had kids, whether it's other robots or the robots in the meat suits, us.
Meat suits.
That now work.
I'm going to get that on a shirt.
Dude, we're all computers. We're all If you've ever been triggered, if you've ever had an emotion you would not have chosen because of some external source, especially on one of these fucking devices,
Yep.
you're a robot. I mean, if I go hit a key on the computer, I hit a key on the keyboard, the computer better do what I fucking said. It's a robot. And if I go say words like, hey, you can't have a trans man being the woman on National Women's Day, I'm going to trigger half your fucking listeners or more. Even though it's silly that anyone gets triggered. Like somebody could say, oh, well, that's his opinion. I disagree. I think men should win on Women's Day. Fine. Okay, you can have that opinion. I would say like it would be real rational that we just created a third day. Like let's create a pro-trans day. Like let's not penalize women. Let's not punish women. Let's honor trans without punishing women. Like let's honor women without penalizing men, honor men without penalizing women, honor trans without penalizing either. Like we don't have to hurt one group to help another group. And the fact that this has even become a debate means that there's so many entities using this AI pain metric technology to manipulate your behaviors that people don't even know which way is up or down, and they're becoming more tribal. Racism is a type of tribalism. Sexism is a type of tribalism. Wealthism is a type of tribalism. Anyone you hate for being different than you is a type of tribalism. And AIs have learned, we don't sell you a product. We sell you your identity. And the smaller and more refined we can make it, the smaller the box that we can put that shit in, the easier it is for us to own you, and you are our slave. You are our robot. You are corporate America's stooge. You are political America's stooge. And now you're seeing it in a different way where every other government on earth, including Russia, including China, including all of these major powers, are realizing, wow, this is powerful. We can influence the will of all the meat suit robots, the children of the AI computers. Isn't that fun?
Yes. That's insane, bro.
And
but there's so much truth to it, bro. Like, really.
You know why people value AI so much?
I would say convenience.
Because they've lost the ability for I.
Shit, bro. If that isn't a fucking... God, I gotta put that on a fucking...
valuable words in the good book, biblical, 2,000 years. And if you're not a Christian, take what I'm saying and put it in whatever your religion is, because there's something similar in any religion or any faith. Or if you're an atheist, you'll get the point. But have a brain, don't get triggered, okay? The two most important words in the good book, I am. It wasn't fucking AI. Human beings have gotten so much lazier since the internet and the social media age. What do you think AI becoming mainstream is going to do? Those who use it as a tool, those who are the I ams that understand that this AI is a more powerful tool than they've ever had, and they can leverage it and use it for good or evil, okay? And it normally starts with evil, and then it generally gets regulated, and then it shifts, changes, grows, whatever. But those who are I ams that leverage and use AI, you're going to be successful. Those that are hacked, like what a hatchet does, by AI, that become the next generation of AI, that have lost the ability to be free thinkers. Because here's something that people don't understand. And this is where AI loses, okay? AI has 5,000 or 50,000 data points, right? But we all know this to be true if there's any level of spirituality in your heart or soul. There are 8 billion people on earth, and there is such thing as oneness. There is not sameness, but there is oneness. And if you have 8 billion fucking data points, there's no computer out there that can compete with that. And then you can start seeing what they're fucking doing. You can see how they're leveraging people. You can watch the trends. You can watch the steps. You can see every phase of the recession happening. You can see what's fucking coming next. And then you get to be the surfer riding the wave instead of the victim smashed by it.
I love it, bro. There's so much game that we're getting from this, man. And I truthfully believe that there are a lot of entrepreneurs right now that are just trying to delegate everything off to AI like it is this thing that can just replace a human in every single category. They're using customer support robots. They're using customer fucking Like even representatives of an organization is now trying to be shaped and formed by an AI. Yeah. I saw an ad yesterday, and it was a lady that was speaking into the camera, and she said that she was an AI, and then she'll teach your seminars for you and impact your students for you and teach them how to build wealth for you.
Yeah.
And that they can be a partner coach and show up on your Zoom calls.
Yeah, right.
What the fuck?
And you believe that, right?
Oh, hell no. I did not believe it. No, I'm going
to do it all for you, but I'm going to give it all to you. For now, there's a big give. Nothing has ever been free. Mm-hmm. Nothing will ever be free. There will be an ask. And those who take all the free, there will be an obligation.
Man, you talking about Skynet going live, bro?
I mean, look, this has been pre-framed, reframed, deframed.
Fuck.
Over and over and over
Every
again.
type of frame you can think of, man.
Are there about it? I mean, look at the fucking Matrix, okay?
That's a phenomenal movie.
Look at Terminator.
Yeah.
Look at all of these different movies, but there's this other movie, right? Like there's what is it, like Star Wars, the Force, like all those interconnected beings.
Yeah,
like,
I love Star Wars because they talk about oneness. You know, technically the Force is this bit of energy. It's really a representation of energy that people who are awake and aware are sensitive to tapping into the energy. Yeah. And that's how they're able to make things levitate, right? And, you know, we have those same components. You know, we talk about crystals, we talk about energy, we talk about oneness. And it's like these are things that also exist. You had mentioned that the body is a computer, you know, and I love that because it's very, how did you mention it? Like you said, it's a meat suit, right? But one of the things when I was at your office that you had was this fucking crazy device that like it was like a Tesla coil at the top.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'll say this shit on the podcast. Every single time I take that machine, I have to shit profusely for like at least 2 days. And I don't know if that's a side effect, but I remember you had an employee that was there one time that was like a part of your organization for a little bit. It must have been 3 years ago. And he told me that every time he uses that thing, he went and he took a massive shit too. But I'm pretty sure that's how non-configured that man was, and maybe how non-configured I was too. I'm eager to go back and test it to see if I have to shit myself. But
it's ready anytime.
What I love so much about that is all of those things, right? So it has like multiple modes in which one human can tap into their what do you call it? Like it's like because it heals you on a molecular level, right?
Yeah, it's like
in
it's
essence,
like a cellular level. It's a biometric
that's what it
electrical computer. And if you want to like lift your arm over your head, like what do you have to do? You have to send neural signals from your brain down and like if you've ever stuck a knife in an electrical outlet, like you know, I remember like my dad looking at me like, "Oh, go on," and you know, of course I did it. And all of a sudden, your muscles worked for you because the electricity hit the muscles. Well, any muscle that's going to operate in your body, it's because of a biochemical electrical signal coming from the brain, right? Like coming from your central nervous system and the brain. Well, all that's doing is it's aligning like all of the energies in the different organs and all of the electrical frequencies to where they should be instead of where they could be. Okay. And that's what, but it's one of many biohacks that I think people should get into. Like, but
truthfully, I just, you know, man, in my point of view, it's like I just think people are shooting too hard for convenience, and we're losing the very thing that it is to be human, you know. And it's a massive lack of creativity in the space, and you have all these fucking computers thinking it up for you, and they're even showing you, right? Because your news feed and all those videos that you watch and everything that you scroll upon is like been framed by what you see and what you search. And they collect all this information to sell those products back to you and keep you in that box. So it's like there's no sense of creativity anymore. And I think that's the only shitty thing that I can see with AI. And I know we got only just a few more minutes, but we can land the plane.
Event, Saturday,
yep.
I'm going to teach everybody there a very, very, very simple framework, literally just a few steps, and they are going to learn how to unhack themselves from the AI programming.
Oh, man, this is going to be awesome, bro. This has been a wealth of knowledge, dude. I know you got to get going and whatnot. For everybody that's watching this, man, can you tell them where they can follow you on social media?
Yeah, the Preston Brown. The Preston Brown, whether it's Instagram, Facebook.
Even .com, right?
Yeah, even .com. We got a website now, theprestonbrown.com. So.
Guys, come on and meet my mentor at the event. He's a fucking amazing dude. I appreciate you for being on the podcast, bro.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course. I'll see you guys on the next one. Let's get it.